Voters keep saying over and over again, we are not comfortable with this level of immigration. I understand why. It doesn't make you a racist to say that. And yet, the liberal parts of, certainly in America, Alex Padilla said last week, he is our senator here, by reviving Trump's asylum ban, Biden has undermined American values. And then they all stand back and go, we don't want to be called a racist, so we will not make a move on him.
America is facing one of the most intense debates in recent memory: immigration. Cities are overwhelmed, resources are stretched, and Americans are frustrated. For years, voters have been raising concerns about uncontrolled immigration, and the conversation is finally being acknowledged by voices that previously stayed silent. Bill Maher, one of the few mainstream figures willing to speak frankly, recently called out the left on live television for the consequences of open border policies. And what he said is worth paying attention to. First, let's address the basics. Millions of Americans have said they feel uneasy about current immigration policies. Wanting secure borders does not make someone racist. It is a legitimate concern, rooted in the safety
and the same principle as I was saying before about like the reverse of what liberalism really is. Liberalism is, for the sake of humanity and compassion, can we get these people off the streets? And woke is, how dare you ask them to move? This is their home.
They have rights.
No, it's not. There's easily a better solution to this. Instead, they put them in hotels? That your answer, hotels? Could everybody just stop the pause?
Migrants actually arrive, what once looked like careful planning and empathy transforms into chaos. Bill Maher makes a critical point. True liberalism isn't about empty gestures. It isn't about providing temporary hotels or makeshift encampments as a solution. It's about dignity, compassion, and real action. Real liberalism addresses...
Pretend that you love migrants so much, and then when we send them to you, you don't like them. You know? Mm-hmm. You're full of mm-hmm. And we can see that. Yeah, you liked them when it wasn't your problem because you're not a border state. And then when they show up in Chicago and New York, you're like, what are we going to do with these people?
Maher is also unafraid to call out the so-called woke approach. According to him, woke politics often treats avoidance as empathy. Asking homeless individuals or migrants to move from unsafe areas is seen as cruel. But in reality, failing to address systemic issues and enabling people to remain in unsafe or unsustainable situations is far from kindness. It is avoidance, and avoidance is not compassion. Progress and real change come from confronting the challenges head-on, not sweeping them under the rug. The hypocrisy on display is staggering. States and leaders that once praised limitless compassion now panic when the consequences appear in their communities.
Eventually, this was going to come to a neighborhood near you. Having someone embedded is a good start. That came from the Secretary of Homeland Security. We want to thank him. But I've been very clear on what we need. We need to control the border. We need to call a state of emergency, and we need to properly fund this national crisis.
Meanwhile, other leaders, such as California Governor Gavin Newsom and Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, continue to defend open border policies, even as their cities face mounting challenges. Many Democrats privately understand the strain that open border policies place on the nation. Rising crime, collapsing shelters, and overburdened social services are all visible behind the scenes. Yet publicly, leaders maintain...
Padilla said last week, he is our senator here. By reviving Trump's asylum ban, Biden has undermined American values. And then they all stand back and go, we don't want to be called a racist, so we will not make a move on immigration. It's going to get them at Election Day. It's happening in Europe right now. That proves it in Europe, and it's going to happen here.
An even more surprising point that Maher highlighted is that even immigrant communities themselves often oppose uncontrolled borders. Many who arrived in the U.S. legally recognize the chaos that can result when rules are ignored. They worked hard, followed the law, and now see communities crumble under illegal entry with little accountability. They understand that compassion without structure and order is a recipe for disaster, Ignoring the
election day. It's happening in Europe right now. That proves it in Europe, and it's going to happen here in America.
There's a real moral reason that we should let people in this country who are suffering
At any number?
No, I mean,
but that's their point. But 64% of Latinos support giving the president authority to shut down U.S. borders. 62% of registered voters would deport all migrants living in the U.S. illegally.
Immigrants.
They don't.
and collapsed almost immediately, exposing its lack of strategy. It was a feel-good gesture with zero practical impact, and it highlighted just how unprepared cities were for the consequences of open border policies. This pattern repeats itself nationwide. Many liberal leaders have perfected the art of saying what sounds good on camera: compassion, unity, open borders. But when policy collides with reality,
What do you New Yorkers think of how Mayor Eric Adams and Governor Kathy Hochul?
Yes, you pronounced it right.
I take it you're a big fan. Have handled the city's migrant crisis. I saw today they're offering any of these migrants, this sounds like a game show, a plane trip to anywhere in the world. There's policy, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay.
policies that seem ideal in theory can create crises in practice. Shelter systems become overwhelmed. Local budgets are strained. Communities bear the brunt of political decisions made far away from their streets. Voters are noticing, and the gap between rhetoric and reality is widening every day. Maher drives home a simple but essential point. Real compassion
This is a backlash to how badly Biden handled the immigration situation. It can't just be like come one, come all, which
Dude,
it was.
there's plenty of room here, and we need
Room.
There's plenty of room in America. Come on, there's not a lack of room in America.
But it's never about room, it's about resources and about like having countries have to have a border. It just can't be, I mean, they've done surveys and something like 200 million people around the world, when asked, would you come to America? You could, yes, I would. Why wouldn't they? Lots of countries, aren't holes.
Right.
And they would love to be here. You can't
I mean,
just
no,
let
I'm
any...
not right. No, right. The places aren't holes, but
Well, they are. And that's why they want to come.
And it's usually because of America.
The hypocrisy is undeniable. Preaching open borders is easy when the consequences land elsewhere, but once they arrive in your neighborhood, panic and denial take over. Leaders must own the results of their policies, confront challenges honestly, and act decisively. The public is watching, and voters are evaluating. Those who prioritize optics over reality will face the consequences at the ballot box. Bill Maher's message is clear. If we are serious about compassion, we must be serious about solutions. Policies must be realistic, humane, and enforceable. We can't